Charities play a vital role in our community, supporting those who are most vulnerable. Creating a charity can be easy, but turning it into a sustainable organisation is hard work. The Growth Project supports small, successful charities, helping them grow so they can maximise their positive impact.
We're a non-profit organisation that runs development programs for charity leaders to grow their knowledge, skills and leadership potential. But we're not doing it alone. The Growth Project brings together an inspired group of supporters who believe in the power of engaged giving. They share their time, knowledge and resources to help develop the future leaders of Australia's non-profit sector. Together, we are taking care of those who care. Together, we can make a sustainable difference in the world.
To find out more or get involved, visit our website at www.thegrowthproject.com.au.
Good evening everyone and welcome to this very special celebration. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that I am standing on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. You might like to reflect on the traditional owners of the land that you are currently sitting on. We pay our respects to their elders past and present. We also extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are joining us online tonight. My name is Martin Mulcair and I have the honour of chairing the board of the Growth Project. Tonight is a celebration and a showcase of the amazing work, commitment, passion and dedication of the Hummingbirds. Why Hummingbirds? Each of our cohorts are referred to by the name of a bird with the first letter in ascending order as the program progresses. As birds fly, we hope that each of the alumni will graduate with a higher and broader perspective than what they began with. On that note, I would like to especially welcome members of the albatross, bowerbird, cockatoo, dove, eagle, falcon and gannet cohorts. Hummingbirds are famous for being able to fly in all directions. And our hummingbirds have certainly had their flexibility tested in 2020. The Growth Project mission is to promote collaboration between business leaders and charity leaders that benefits society. More specifically, our aim is to work with 100 charity leaders and 100 business leaders over a 5-year period that began in 2015, when co-founders Peter Baines and Larry Fingelson had the vision to design and launch this program. I am proud to say that that aim has been achieved this year. In each cohort, we bring together 10 charity leaders and 10 business leaders. We match them, and those 20 leaders connect, they learn, they collaborate, and they grow together as a single community over the year that they work together. Tonight, each pair of business and charity leaders have been allocated 5 minutes to present their insights. Here is Benji Crowitz, a fellow board member, who will introduce each speaker.
Thank you, Martin, and welcome everybody to what will be an evening of inspiration. Kicking us off this evening is none other than Andy and Paul. Through Burn Bright, Andy spends his waking moments helping tens of thousands of young people flourish through leadership and well-being programs across Australia and New Zealand. Paul is a father of 3 and a trail running enthusiast who faced into an incredibly tough 2020, but came out the other side even stronger. Please welcome Andy and Paul.
Thanks, Benji. So as a father of 3 kids, aged 9, 12 and 14, I'm incredibly fortunate to spend the year with Andy, the founder and CEO of Burnbright, an amazing organisation focused on creating a better mindset and life experience for children in Australia and New Zealand, like my own kids. Throughout the time of the Growth Project, I've gotten to know Andy very well. We spent quite a bit of time interacting, working through decisions and circumstances that Andy was facing in relation to questions around Burnbright and the business. And that's enabled me, in terms of those discussions, to reflect on my own circumstances, my own actions and my own leadership throughout this uncertainty we've been facing. From a personal perspective, as Benji mentioned, 2020 has been quite significant for me. At the start of the Growth Project, I was leading an incredible team and facing into the initial onsets of COVID, and really looking forward to the opportunities and possibilities that 2020 would present. Fast forward 9 months, my role has changed materially. My father passed away, and throughout the time there's been significant change both in my family and the broader society in the way we work, including the businesses that I was actually servicing, whose businesses will change forever going forward. Now, from all of this, there's been great experience that I've learnt. And on reflection, Andy and I have spent a lot of time doing that between the two of us. And from a personal perspective, it's looking at these challenges and the issues that you face as actually opportunities in disguise, not necessarily challenges and things that you need to fall down with. And it's actually this skill and that focus from Burnbright that I see as a great endeavour, an amazing thing in this business, that they focus on embedding this in the children that Andy works with. And to embed that in children like my own is an amazing opportunity for them. So throughout the journey on the Growth Project, I've been able to reflect on my own position. And through the cohort you'll hear from later on today, it's enabled me to actually focus on what's important to me, and that's family, amongst other things. From a perspective around working on the Growth Project, I want to encourage those that are watching today to actually consider how you can work with organisations like Andy's and Burnbright to offer up your time and experience and knowledge and to foster the growth of these businesses that do amazing work with the community as a whole. Thank you. Andy, over to you.
Thanks, Paul. For me, my experience on the Growth Project has been significant, especially in terms of the power of connections and relationships. I think one of the really powerful things that comes out of the Growth Project is working with other charity leaders, is recognising that for us as charity leaders, our charities consume our worlds, they consume our relationships, and we also bring amazing people who we have around us into our organisations. But one of the things that I think has been quite incredible has been Paul and I are from totally different backgrounds, totally different mindsets and totally different career paths. And I think what has been valuable for me as a part of the Growth Project is the shared reflective space that's been outside of Burnbright and outside of our organisation to allow me to have perspective, to allow us to process the uncertainty of 2020, but that shared reflective space where the two of us can grow together, where the two of us can allow to challenge each other, where the two of us can push each other, but where we can also have that space outside of my organisation to allow Burnbright to flourish, but also for me to flourish as well. And that was a really significant thing for me over the last 12 months. I think that if more charities can think about how they can find space outside of their organisations to be able to process the uncertainty, to be able to deal with ambiguity, I think that's a really, really powerful thing. And so that's been the biggest aspect for me, to be able to have that shared connection, have that shared relationship, but also to have that space outside of the organisation, to sit in that space and to be able to process what's been going on in 2020, but also how to grow our organisation together with Paul, and I'm truly grateful for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both, and what an incredible journey. Next up, I want to welcome Suzanne from Stella Bella, a vivacious soul, a mother of 4, and an advocate for seriously ill children and their families, who also committed to a lengthy commute from Canberra this year. Alongside her is Nathan, the head of CBA's community work, and a husband, father, and co-carer of 2 adorable, albeit dopey, basset hounds. miles apart in distance and corporate experience, but united by their hearts and common lived experiences, please welcome Nathan and Suzanne.
Thanks, Benji. I've been really lucky to spend quite a long time working for a great organisation in a community-focused role where I can look at how we support the community. This tends to mean I spend a lot of time talking about strategy behind partnerships, shared objectives, and how we'll measure the impact. And over the past 4 years of the Growth Project, I've observed from afar and been impressed with the work of many charities and how they've really strived to improve the community we all live in. Hence, it was quite a privilege to join the 5th year of the Growth Project as a business leader. Over the time of the Growth Project, whilst not part of it, my own life has changed. I got married, bought a home, and welcomed our first child, Henry. What we didn't expect was that we would be one of the 6 families every day to experience a stillbirth. So suddenly, whilst we are professionals doing well in life, we were in uncharted territory and became the beneficiaries of charity, a place we never expected to find ourselves. Our coping mechanisms were broad and ranged from home renovation to burning a paddock legally, and the most enduring part of our response was the love for each other and the daffodil, which is Henry's flower and the birth flower for babies born in March. At its peak, I was buying them wholesale by the 100, which was problematic given we live in a small inner city terrace, but thankfully they do make great gifts. But more importantly, the daffodils become a symbol for family and friends who will often send us photos or plant them in their own garden to remember Henry. And that means the world to us to know that others are carrying on his legacy. But one of the many things Henry has taught us is about the clarity of the diversity of our own lives, and that we can't expect to understand what someone's been through in the past. When we show an openness to hearing and telling our own story, it makes it easier for others to tell their story and for them to be able to speak up when they need to. And this year through the Growth Project, it's been remarkable to meet Suze and learn how she maintains Stella's memory. And whilst my connection to Suze doesn't end tonight, I know tonight that Stella's star is shining brightly over Henry's daffodils.
Thank you. Thank you, Nathan. My time in hospital with my own little daughter and the great loss that came with her death gave me an understanding of what many families go through, sadly. It also inspired me to find ways to make life a little more bearable for others on that tragic journey. Starting our charity so soon after Stella died and working hard to help as many as possible, I was driven by a great passion that stays with me today. Having jumped in the deep end and swam like crazy, I did indeed, with lots of help, build a charity from the ground up, and it grew to support many hundreds of families and their seriously ill kids. The timing of my introduction to the Growth Project was serendipitous in so many ways, but still I was quite surprised to be accepted into the program. I'd been working so hard for so long in the charity that I'd not had the chance to actually step back and look at the charity from the outside and see where each area was at and what my first little idea had now fully grown into. The combination of charity and business leaders in the Growth Project provided me with an immense collection of knowledge and experience to learn from, and some amazing perspective on my role and Stella Bella's role in the community. Being matched with Nathan was a bonus. Seemingly, we have such different lives and work styles, and, you know, we look a little bit different. But finding our connection so early in the piece gave us a strong foundation, and I think that we've both learnt from each other some things that we may not even have intended to. What comes from losing a child is unfathomable to many, but for those of us who have experienced it, we know that sometimes the only time we can really talk about some things is when you're with another parent that lives that sad reality. It's a strange connection that you wouldn't wish on anyone, but for those of us who share it, it's got a special warmth and kindness to it. So I'm extra grateful that I was matched with Nathan on this journey of growth. In the middle of the craziness that has been 2020, the Growth Project has been very grounding for me and has given me much needed clarity and a new confidence to review and improve our systems and enhance our board structure. I've also refreshed our logo and added some sparkle to it. Our star logo means so much to me, and it took a big step to make this change to better reflect where we are today as an organisation. But now is the right time, so I'm sharing it with you all tonight. All of these changes will help us to make our good work spread even further into the community to families when and how they need it most. And I have to say, every cloud really does have a silver lining, and I'm so grateful for the glitter around the edges of my little cloud. Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing your truth. The next pair tonight are a formidable intellectual duo. George is the Principal Solicitor of the National Justice Project and is well known for his work with marginalised individuals. By his side, along this journey, is Dr. Rob, a sharp lawyer who leads his own practice alongside his wife and combines a life of law with being a motivational speaker, a chess player, and a father of 4 girls. Sit back and enjoy some of the smartest minds that this world has to offer.
Thanks very much. No, don't go any higher. I don't want you any taller than that. Look, 2020's been a breakthrough year for the National Justice Project. In January, we were struggling to pay our wages. Right now, we are financially sustainable, at least for the next 2 years. But if I had to point to a eureka moment in 2020, it was the 6th of June. You can see up there on the slides, we had 50,000 protesters. That's a family that we've been working with. That's the mother of a young man who passed away in Long Bay Jail after being positionally asphyxiated. But in 2015, 5 years ago, we had a rally where we marched on Long Bay Jail. We had 50 people, 50 to 100 people, and 5 years later, 50,000 marched with that family. And Australians are starting to understand the systemic prejudice against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. That was the breakthrough moment with the Black Lives Matter movement, and the National Justice Project were there. But that's not all. We had 113,000 petitioners join us to seek justice for David Dungay in a petition to the New South Wales government to hold someone accountable for David's death. We had 114,000 petitioners join us to ask Jackie Lambie to stand firm and not pass laws that would take mobile phones off individuals in immigration detention, and we won. Jackie Lambie did not, she refused to pass that legislation. And finally, and this is just one of the many victories we had in 2020, we achieved law reform in WA for the victims of domestic violence who were being arrested by magistrates issuing warrants when they didn't turn up in court for, in this case, because the victim was pregnant and was feeling sick on the day of court. She actually did ring and explain her absence, but the judge still issued a warrant for her arrest. That stopped. But we couldn't have done this without the discipline that was introduced into our organisation as a result of the Growth Project. It's accelerated our success, and Rob has expanded our horizons. So over to you, Rob.
Thanks, George. As a person with a substantial physical disability, I've been exposed to systemic discrimination and the prejudices that you know can apply to people in marginalised groups. And so I've spent a great deal of my life advocating for people with disabilities and also for marginalised groups. I think really one of the things that has been amazing for me about having met George and going through the Growth Project is that learning about the National Justice Project has really vindicated a theory that I've had that's kind of bubbled up all the way through my life, which is that in order to really affect systemic change and solid change, you need to use the law to do that, because everybody is bound by the law, including the government. And just meeting George and learning about the National Justice Project has made me understand that there are other people out there who have this view, and who really have the capability to achieve incredible things in terms of affecting change. I might just ask you, George, for a minute just to talk a little bit about some of the things that the National Justice Project does.
Okay, I'll try and be quick. We use strategic litigation to create change in society. We train the leaders of the future and empower marginalised communities through education, and we use our partnerships networks and supporters to amplify the voices of our clients, to tell their narrative and to demand change.
And so, speaking about partnerships and using relationships with people, one thing that's been fantastic is that George and I have developed an incredible connection over this time. I think it's a real credit to the Growth Project and Larry in particular for putting us together as teaming us up to be business and charity leaders together. We've learnt an awful lot about one another and about the things that we think are important, and I think we've also managed to spend quite a bit of time working to focus the mind of the National Justice Project and its board members onto where to from here and where to go, and that's been a real blessing. I guess maybe just in closing, I wanted to leave everyone with a thought, which is that the National Justice Project exists. It's a very important body of people who go to do important things to affect systemic change and to deal with discrimination and prejudice. So if there's anything that I can leave everyone with tonight, it's if you think about an inequality or you think about something that you feel is wrong, make your next thought the National Justice Project, so you can reach out and communicate with us to see whether there's something that we together can do to improve the lives of people. Thank you.
Thank you both for fighting the good fight that you do. Now, many of you watching tonight probably know that newborn babies do not arrive with a manual. I discovered that for the second time late last year. Nadine, through Mum for Mum, spends her life trying to help new mums when they are at their most vulnerable. By her side is Belinda, who works at Blackmores and has used the chaos of 2020 to grow. As a person, as a wife, and as a mother to 2 children. Given all of this, Belinda has absolutely cherished the opportunity to partner with Nadine and Mum for Mum. Please enjoy hearing how Nadine and Belinda have connected, collaborated, and grown throughout this year.
Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. These are the words of Holocaust survivor, psychologist, and author of Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. The Growth Project has given me the opportunity, during an extremely challenging year, to take a step back from doing and deeply examine what Mum for Mum is about as a charity, where we want to go, and how to get there. And importantly, as a charity leader, where do I personally fit into this? In an open and safe way, we have collaborated with our fellow leaders, sharing our skills and connections with generosity and authenticity. I've been particularly fortunate to have been partnered with Belinda from Blackmores. Belinda is a similar age to my own daughters and brings so much of the lived experience of motherhood, of juggling life's challenges with a senior corporate position. She has brought a clarity of thought and strategic thinking, combined with empathy and passion for the program that has given me just what I needed to get the most out of this growth opportunity. What drives me at Mum for Mum are the letters I receive weekly, such as this one. I'm so overwhelmingly grateful to Mum for Mum for all of the life-changing moments this program created for me. The confidence, the support, the knowledge that I wasn't alone, and that I had someone on my side. Early motherhood is such a tough time, wonderful but challenging, and the support of your organisation provided was something I will treasure for the rest of my life. You helped me gain back a piece of myself, while also discovering a new identity as a mother. You helped me have the confidence and support to function, to enjoy my baby and know that the tough times would pass.
This is just one of so many examples of the powerful and beneficial impact Mum for Mum has on those that it supports. I would like to start by thanking Blackmores for providing me with the opportunity to be part of this project, and I would also like to express deep appreciation to our fellow Hummingbirds. Throughout a rollercoaster year, you have provided a space for growth and learning that felt safe and that welcomed openness and vulnerability. I have a newfound confidence and a sense of purpose as a result. Throughout the last 8 months, I've been so blessed to be partnered with Nadine, the powerhouse behind Mum for Mum. Mum for Mum exists to support new mums in need by partnering them with a highly trained volunteer who is also a mother. When women are pregnant and preparing for motherhood, they are often so hopeful of a beautiful experience and the opportunity to bond with a precious tiny human who is about to enter their lives. As a mother of 2 myself, I can very much relate to this. Unfortunately, and sadly for many, the reality of parenthood is not what they'd hoped for. The lack of a support network, historical or ongoing abuse, postpartum depression, a traumatic birth, feeding challenges, sleep deprivation are just some examples of challenges that all too often see mothers facing difficulties achieving secure attachment with their baby. We've all seen or experienced for ourselves the effects of this, and we know that it can be devastating and have a lasting impact, compromising women's self-confidence and also their overall well-being. The volunteers at Mum for Mum are there for these women. They do not give up on those that they're there to support, and the aim of this charity is to continue expanding their reach to ensure that no woman falls through the cracks.
Every new mother deserves a wise, empathic, quintessential mother holding her hand as she negotiates the transition and stormy waters of parenting. Someone to ensure that she accesses the professional resources she needs, helps her develop friendships, and empowers her to find her unique voice, a role model of what a healthy relationship looks like, and someone to share the joys and concerns of parenting. With isolation, perinatal mental ill health and domestic violence at an all-time high, and with pregnancy and motherhood a time of increased risk, the demand of our program has reached a tipping point, with requests coming in daily. If you know new mums struggling alone, think of Mum for Mum, as we are determined to ensure that every mother who needs someone at their side has someone there for them.
Thank you, Nadine and Belinda. And now let's keep the inspiration flowing. After childbirth, all a mum wants to do is be happy, healthy, and looking after their newborn child. Unfortunately, for those families who suffer through birth trauma, this is not possible and they are not well supported. Well, that was until Amy stepped in to fill the chasm. Amy's partner alongside her for this journey has been Lachlan. He works at CBA and is usually in his comfort zone, talking about things like interest rates, derivatives, and foreign exchange. So you can imagine the learnings he has had from this year thinking and talking about birth trauma. Please welcome Amy and Lachlan.
Great. So I applied to be a business leader in this year's growth project. But before I did, I spoke to a number of my colleagues who had the opportunity to be involved in previous years, and they all said pretty consistently the same thing, that the true growth and insights you would get from the program will really come from the business leaders and the charity leaders that are part of your group. but most importantly, the charity leader, in my case, who I'd be paired with. So it sounded great. I applied. I went through the rigorous process that everyone in this room went through. I had to provide, I guess, my interests, my aspirations, my strengths, dog's name, favourite food. It was pretty rigorous. And by the end of it, I got the sense that, look, this is going to be awesome. I am going to get paired with someone exactly like me, a mirror version of me. We're going to get on like a house on fire. And then I met Amy. So Amy lives in Queensland. She's also the CEO of the Australasian Birth Trauma Association, the ABTA. And when we met, the first thing that Amy said to me was, I talk about vaginas a lot.
So ABTA launched in 2017, and in just a few short years, we've brought attention to an issue that has previously been overlooked. We've built a reputation for health advocacy and support services, and we've supported thousands of women, families, and health professionals through birth-related trauma. My life over the past 4 years has been solely dedicated to bringing awareness and driving social change, bringing ABTA to the forefront of education and support for birth trauma for families across Australasia. Through personally receiving peer support myself, I know how crucial it is for families to be able to connect with real people that get it. Through my own traumatic birth, I was inspired to use my voice and speak out so that no woman would ever have to feel alone like I did. So we run an organisation with amazing volunteers that all share a lived experience of birth trauma. They share their stories and they share their healing journeys so as to support and provide hope to others. We have developed trauma-informed training for health professionals across Australia and internationally. We provide peer support through online services, and we've developed a 6-week trauma support program available to women across Australia. We support families that experienced birth trauma weeks, months, even years ago, even decades ago, because the way a woman gives birth has the ability to impact the whole of the rest of her life. So when I joined the Growth Project, I went on a journey because I was trying to divert off the path to change maker burnout. I wanted to develop as a leader and ensure the long-term sustainability of my organisation. And I walk away with so much more than that. I've got clarity professionally and personally as well, and I'm just incredibly grateful to have shared this journey with Locke, who is strategic and measured and quick to laugh, and they're all attributes that I need more of in my life. And of course, Locke is right. I do spend a lot of time talking about vaginas.
Yeah, we did. We spoke about vaginas. But you know what? Being paired with Amy really did work. And it worked really well. And what I realised as a business leader is you don't need to come up with the answers. You know, the vision, the passion, the drive, it's already there. Sometimes all you need to do is just be that person to listen. You know, sometimes it's just providing a charity leader with somebody who's not in their circle, who has a tiny glimmer of the pressures that they have in running their organisation and the impact that it has on their life outside the organisation as well. Look, Amy doesn't need me, but there are thousands of Australians out there who do need the services of the ABTA. 1 in 3 women identify their births of their children as being traumatic. That's massive. It's like 1 in 3. You know, with those sort of numbers, every single person out there would know someone that has been impacted by this and would benefit from the services, the support and the information that the ABTA can offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing your journey and setting a record for the most mentions of vaginas at a growth project graduation. Now, we all have defining moments in our lives, and it is what we do and how we respond that matters. Danny is the mother of two beautiful girls. The youngest, Billy, was killed in a tragic horse accident in 2016. Danny is now the CEO and founder of Fly High Billy, which spreads kindness amongst young people. By her side is Anne-Marie, the head of marketing for Stuart Alexander, who is passionate about building teams that help build consumer brands. The Growth Project was a chance for Anne-Marie to step off the hamster wheel and lean in to the for-purpose sector. Please listen carefully to Danny's defining moment, what she has done with it, and how Anne-Marie has helped refine her passion.
When we have children, we nurture them, we teach them, we guide them, and we do our best to act as good role models. But what I've realised since Billy died is that she has taught me way more than I ever taught her. Billy's death has shown me the fundamental core of humanity: love and connection. Billy was way beyond her years, and everyone would say, there's just something about Billy. Even though she was young, she had great empathy and compassion, and kindness has now become her legacy. Billy would often say to me, I know I'm only 12, but I believe that I can make a difference. Billy's now made me look at the bigger picture, and she has become my vehicle to drive change. Just before Billy's accident in 2016, she was awarded a scholarship to high school based on her incredible writing ability. So, with the help of teachers and psychologists, we took Billy's poems, her stories, and her empowering words, and created kindness workbooks for primary school children. This year, throughout the Growth Project, it's helped us to grow, and I'm happy to say that the charity has now also implemented free online programs for the workbooks, which align with the PDHPE Australian curriculum. Imagine if children from grade 1 to grade 6 in primary school were taught empathy and kindness every day. Imagine if they're taught how to stand in other people's shoes and really accept other people for who they are. Imagine if they were taught and are all taught to embrace that we are all different and to embrace our differences. Children relate to Billy's words because she was a 12-year-old student, just like them. When a teacher asked one of his grade 3 students, Finn, if he liked using the workbooks, Finn replied, yes, because every time we use it, then when we go into the playground, everybody is nice to each other. These positive resources are promoting empathy and compassion in children, ultimately reducing mental health issues, bullying, and suicide. They are not only inspiring and empowering children, but they are also helping them to become more resilient and more confident. The age of children who are dealing with issues such as mental health, bullying, self-harm, drugs, and suicide is getting younger and younger. We need to prevent these issues from arising instead of constantly band-aiding them.
Given the alarming statistics on bullying and mental health issues in children, it's undeniable the world could use a little more kindness. Anxiety levels have increased significantly in the last decade, with suicide now being the single largest killer of Australian youth. With topics like anxiety, depression, self-harm and suicide on anti-bullying websites, there is a glaring absence of positive messages. In response, Danny set up the Fly High Billy charity to change the negative to a positive. Earlier this year, Danny and I worked on a strategic plan for the Fly High Billy charity and identified some key pillars for success. The main one being to create mass awareness throughout schools, communities and the corporate world for Fly High Billy's annual Be Kinder Day, and also the Walk for a Kinder World event. This year, despite COVID, 52 schools have participated in Be Kinder Day, which saw over 30,000 kindness cards full of kind messages sent far and wide. And during the Walk for the Kinder World event, an incredible 53,000 kilometres were walked, spreading kindness one step at a time. That's equivalent to 1.25 times around the world. Working with Danny and the Grow Project over the last 9 months has been a wonderful experience in many ways. I've met and been inspired by so many great people, in particular all the charity leaders. From the first day I met Danny and she shared her story about Billy's accident and setting up the charity, I've been amazed by her sheer passion to inspire and empower children. Danny has shown me never to give up hope, to be resilient, that determination goes a long way, to stay focused on your goal, but most of all, to be kind to yourself and to others. I'll treasure this experience for a long time.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, and thank you for helping me build strength and confidence. You have inspired, encouraged, and given me hope. Fly High Billy's hope is that all primary schools will utilise our kindness workbooks and programs to empower children to be more kind, empathetic, and compassionate. After Billy died, a little girl wrote to me, and she said, "I didn't know Billy personally, but she smiled at me every single day on the way into school." Every day, our actions can and do have an impact on others. In Billy's words, "But there is, oh there is a point if you make one." Her legacy reminds us all that our actions do matter and that we each have the power to make a difference through kindness.
Thank you, Danny and Anne-Marie. The next charity has been on an incredible journey since first going through the project 5 years ago. Feel the Magic has successfully navigated the succession of their founder and CEO, James Thomas. He successfully handed the reins over to Adam, who brings over 25 years' experience with a passion for the social sector and also his empathetic and kind soul. Adam was magically matched with Ray, our little ray of sunshine, a highly successful CEO with a big heart. Ray's deep desire to help kids and his astute marketing mind were instrumental in helping Adam during this year. Ray also celebrated both his 50th birthday and his 20th anniversary with his lucky lady. Please join me in welcoming Adam and Ray.
Thank you, Benji. Wow. You know those moments in your life where things happen and you just go, that can't be a coincidence? Some people call it fate, others people sort of say, you know, it's beyond our understanding. But definitely this happened with Adam and I's connection. You know, and this connection came about both wanting to help grieving kids find that smile again through the Feel the Magic connection, which is all about connection. As you hummingbirds know, we are also a couple of big sooks. You've seen us cry a lot over this time. Wow. I don't know where they come from, but they flow. Yeah, tears of empathy of the amazing stories that you guys tell. I mean, truly, that is inspiring to me. Tears of laughter, all the good times we've had, lots of laughs, lots of good times, including my bar. But also tears of hope that we can together make a difference, and that's what really inspires me, to be able to make a difference one step at a time to help people that need it. I reflect on my life and I've been very fortunate. A beautiful family, a successful career, lots of fun along the way. And after turning 50, I know it's pretty hard to think that I look 50 when I look as good as this. I really wanted to give something back, and that's where my journey began. My journey actually began sitting with a fantastic friend of mine, Larry, who I've known for over 30 years, doing one of my favourite things, sitting on the hill at Brookie Oval with a pie and a beer, cheering on the mighty Eagles.
Go the Dragons.
With my 2 young boys. And it was that time that I said, I need to give something back. So I joined this journey thinking, okay, what can I give? How can I help? Little did I know. Little did I know I would have received so much from this amazing experience from you people. The way you've touched my soul is incredible, so thank you. You're incredible humans, and I am just so grateful that I've been able to experience this. And Larry did tell me it'd be good for me, but little did I know how good it would be. I'm forever changed as a person for the better, so thank you. And one of the key things I took out was learning about caring, and it brings good things to the world. I applied that recently to my business over COVID, where people needed care more than ever. And what I did is I put the well-being of the team ahead of driving results, and truly incredible things happen. We've had the best results we've ever had, but more importantly, we've had the most engaged people, the most engaged team that actually trust that we care. It made such a difference. I'm also extremely privileged to be able to be part of the Feel the Magic journey. This guy may not know it, but he's taught me a lot about compassion and doing things for the right reason. It's an amazing learning. And a quick story about fate again. The day before I found out about joining the Growth Project, I'd been to a funeral of a close industry contact. I watched his 2 kids crying over his casket, and it literally broke my heart. The next day I was called by Larry, and he said, congratulations, you've been chosen for the Growth Project, and your charity is Feel the Magic. It's all about helping grieving kids who have lost a parent to grow and find their smile again. Shivers went up my spine, and I knew this was meant to be.
Have you ever felt like you're standing at the edge of a cliff and you don't know if you're going to fall off? That's how I felt last year after I left my job, without a job, with a family and a mortgage, and no source of income. This is my story of fate and how I became to be at Feel the Magic. Meeting up with James Thomas, we landed on a role for me in Feel the Magic. Being a part of Feel the Magic also created an opportunity for me to join the life-changing experience of the Growth Project, and hence another story of fate meeting Ray. Despite his love of Manly, we formed a great connection and bond. 2 softies with a keen love of Kleenex. We just heard Ray's recent experience of grief with the passing of his friend with 2 kids. We all know someone who has lost a parent, a child, or a sibling. Now imagine your 11-year-old self, and you're standing outside, playing outside with your friends, and you hear a scream from inside the house. You run inside to find your mum on the floor crying. She looks up at you and says, "Your dad has just died at work." In that moment, your whole life has changed. What would you be worried about? What would you be thinking? I'm going to assume now your adult self is thinking, gosh, I hope this doesn't happen to me or my family. That's where Feel the Magic is here to help. 1 in every 20 Australian children experiences the death of a parent. That's the same as peanut allergies. And we are there to help grieving kids develop the coping strategies to live healthily with their grief.
That's truly incredible, huh? Let's wrap it up. This bloke here and I certainly don't see eye to eye when it comes to rugby league teams. Go Manly.
Go the Dragons.
But we are forever connected with our passion for Feel the Magic and turn that into a charity that can provide support for grieving kids nationwide.
Remember, everyone knows someone who experiences grief, and Feel the Magic is here to help grieving kids grow and refine their smile. So,
thank you for listening. Cheers. Well done, mate. We got there.
We did.
Thank you, Adam and Ray. for all the hugs, the tears, and the laughs. Now, for those of you paying attention, you would probably remember that the Gidget Foundation was part of the Growth Project's very first cohort, the Albatrosses. It seemed only fitting that in our final year we would tap back into their journey. Arabella has been the CEO at the Gidget Foundation for 4 years, pioneering their extraordinary growth. Andrew works at CBA and has over 15 years financial services experience. He's a proud husband and father of 2 who loves his cricket and footy and has a deep passion for connecting people. Please welcome Arabella and Andrew.
Thank you. How is the heart of an organisation instrumental in shaping direction? Gidget Foundation Australia was founded almost 20 years ago after a great tragedy. Gidget was the nickname of a much-loved mum who was suffering from unrecognised postnatal depression. Surrounded by loving family and friends, the extent of her suffering was unknown, even to those around her, until tragically, she took her own life, leaving behind a gorgeous 9-month-old baby girl and devastated loved ones. Standing at Gidget's funeral, Standing at Gidget's funeral, the depth of grief I felt around me was like a black hole. It was Gidget's beautiful sisters and her best friends who gathered amidst their own grief to work out how they could best prevent this from happening to others ever again. United by the depths of their loss and the determination to create impactful change, Gidget Foundation Australia was formed. From this black hole emerged a glimmer of light, a glimmer of hope. It is a common response to a loss like this for loved ones to channel their grief and their passion into driving change and ensuring a legacy for their loved one. What is not so common is for an organisation that started in this way to go on to create immense impact with such longevity while keeping its heart in the right place. It has taken unwavering energy, integrity, passion, professionalism and commitment to ensure that this organisation took shape and steadily gained momentum. It has taken an organisation that has grown and naturally changed over time, and yet steered by the authenticity of great tragedy, it is shaped by the very heart at its core. If every single person in a team is motivated by at least the small set of the same values, then shaping that direction becomes quite an organic process. Over time, those whose values don't align will naturally fall away and the heart-centred direction will be restored. As Gidget Foundation Australia has evolved, it has honoured the very human story of the life of someone who left this world too soon. Steered over the years by a variety of very capable leaders, today we continue to truly embrace Gidget's legacy, and it is this magic which has helped to bring about the huge growth of recent times. Success is measured by how many families like Gidget's are able to access the specialist support they need to survive and to thrive. And just last week, we reached a really special milestone in our journey. As we approach our 20th year, I'm really proud to say that we surpassed our 20,000th clinical consultation conducted via one of our 14 Gidget houses face-to-face and our Start Talking telehealth program nationally. I'm so honoured to be part of something that is so magical and life-changing for so many Australian families, and ultimately it is this that is how the heart of an organisation is instrumental in shaping its direction.
This is a remarkable milestone in the Foundation's history. However, milestones like this don't just happen. Since beginning the Growth Project in 2020, I have witnessed the perseverance, dedication and passion from Arabella and the team that has been at the forefront of the Gidget Foundation.
The Foundation has arrived at this milestone with incredible speed and determination. Gidget only reached half that number just 18 months ago. Yet with the impact of COVID hitting the mental health of Australians really hard, the organisation has delivered over 86% more consultations year on year. At the heart of a successful organisation's direction is the power of collaboration. Just this month, to see Perinatal Mental Health Week go from an idea to become a fully fledged campaign uniting 26 organisations across multiple platforms was simply phenomenal. I have been inspired by the connection with the Gidget Foundation team through collaboration around strategic development, internally as well as with like-minded organisations. I am proud to work for the Commonwealth Bank as a founding sponsor of the Growth Project, staying true to the bank's values and purpose. At CBA, we show care, courage and commitment to improve the financial well-being of our customers and community. That is the power of collaboration. Through our Growth Project partnership, my positive energy and ability to provide perspective and clarity has supported Arabella to refine Gidget's strategic purpose. The power of Arabella's collaborative leadership has taught me how to lead with empathy, humility, respect, and most of all, heart.
Thank you, Arabella and Andrew, and what an incredible milestone and journey. Next up, it is my pleasure to introduce our utility leader, Tommy Trout. With the help of the Growth Project, he is building a for-purpose business that will improve the health and fitness of people living with disability. He is a living, breathing representation of true potential unleashed, and is creating a platform that very well might change the world. Over to you, Tommy.
Thank you. Autistic, psychotic, antisocial. Those were the words used to describe Cameron to me before my first shift with him as a newly hired disability support worker. To say that I was nervous on the way over there would be putting it mildly. So imagine my surprise when I met him and met a gentle, intelligent 24-year-old man who loved movies, Thai food, and had a deep love and obsession with astrophysics, complete with a telescope at the back, and often sleep deprived from spending his nights on MIT chat boards talking to PhD students. What I also realised is that he was a man who, because of his unique needs, because of the labels attached to him, had been abandoned by his family and had no friends. I learnt that antisocial didn't mean he didn't want a connection. It meant that he found them hard to make. And to top it off, he was on medication for his psychosis. The side effects are energy drain, massive weight gain, and adult acne. His weekly schedule consisted of leaving the house just twice a week. Once to go shopping, and once to come to the centre where I worked. So if you think 6 months of quarantine is bad for your health, that was his routine for the 5 years before I met him. He was a prisoner, sitting at home all day, nowhere to go, just getting fatter and sadder. Something had to change. So one day, I offered to take him to the gym and throw some weights around. My solution to most things at that time. Or as I put it to the astrophysics nerd, let's go experiment with gravity. 2 months later, Cam is at the gym twice a week with 4 other people with unique needs, working out, getting healthier, getting happier. Best part is, I realised I didn't give him something to do. I gave him somewhere to be. And then it hit home. That same year, my dad died. He was on the spectrum, and he passed away from extremely preventable health issues. I looked at my little brother, also on the spectrum, and saw that he was going to follow suit. So I dusted off my workout gloves and took Jack to the gym as well. We now do multiple sessions a week together. And during those sessions, that's when I realised what my passion was, why I'm here, what I wanted to do with my life, and the impact and legacy I want to leave. Kept up all night with ideas. I felt I can help families in the same situation. What I didn't have was the way or the knowledge to make it happen. So as a Hail Mary, I applied for the Growth Project, though I didn't have a business or a charity at the time. And thanks to some protocol breaking, I was accepted in. And I couldn't be happier, because one thing I knew about the Growth Project is that it transforms the lives of people who take it. And thanks to the Growth Project, it turned my passion into purpose. It turned my ideas into vision. I remember sitting at my dad's funeral, consoling my little brother and scared for his future. Now, I'm a business owner. I'm a man with a plan. WeFlex is my business, and it's my plan. Born out of the belief that fitness is for everybody. And I'm inviting everybody to join my tribe and help create a more inclusive fitness industry, like through tailored exercise programs, personal trainer education, and more inclusive gyms. Join me in making a business case for inclusion. The Growth Project has helped me become the leader and the person I didn't even know I needed to be. And now I get to be that person. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. We are so excited to watch the WeFlex journey. Carmen was an everyday person who stumbled across a social issue and just couldn't rest knowing that there were so many people sleeping on a floor when there is so much excess in our world. By her side is Yvonne, who has 25 years of corporate experience locally and around the world, and currently works at Sage as Director of Operations, while also being a proud mum. From the time they met, we all sat back and smiled as we just knew they were kindred spirits and now lifelong friends. We have seen commitment, collaboration, and values collide through deep connection. Over to you, Carmen and Yvonne.
Thanks, Benji. Most of you would know what a bad night's sleep is like. I'm a mum, and when my little man is sick, I don't sleep well. I wake up, I toss and turn, I check on him, and I wait to hear all those little murmurs.
Rough, sleeping on the floor, we drop everything, and we get busy. By sunset, we had a truck packed with what we call bulky, difficult essentials: beds, sofa, fridge, and Anna was able to tuck her kids into bed that night. All it took was a bunch of second-hand items to stop that family returning to harm.
The generous and the grateful uplift groups of vulnerable people so that they can thrive. People experiencing homelessness, domestic abuse, youth at risk, and refugees. At a pivotal moment in their recovery, the kindness of others helps uplift them and provide them the opportunity to thrive. Gigi, as it's commonly known, connects excess and need, providing those bulk essential items for a fresh start so that they can sleep well, eat well, and present well. Gigi's on a mission. They're on a mission to ensure that all people assisted into housing can access the bulky essentials they need to turn a house into a home. That means a bed under each body, a couch to relax on, a fridge to keep food fresh, and a table to eat at together. And by 2027, when Gigi has its 10-year anniversary, it aims to complete 13,000 homes, support over 30,000 people, and avoid over 1,000 tonnes of waste from landfill. You'll be busy.
We'll be busy. We're thinking and acting a little differently. We connect people by working with caseworkers because they are the specialists that understand the complex needs of their beneficiaries. With their guidance, we turn house into home because we know what is needed, when it's needed, and we make sure it gets there. There are hundreds of caseworkers using our service currently across Sydney in 22 different agencies and growing. Our staff are only 4, but along with 64 volunteers who share their muscles and their minds, we've managed to complete 500 homes in the last year. We partner. We partner to secure a supply of really beautiful items because it boosts dignity, and we're actually here to set people up for a long time to come. Better than nothing has no place here. Hotel chains are reducing unnecessary waste and brightening futures by sharing furniture each time they refurbish. Clever retailers are sharing their returns and their excess stock. As we can secure more partners, we will be able to grow from hundreds to thousands of homes each year. Our hardest items to source are fridges and washing machines. Every home needs them. We can't get enough of them. If you know where to find any, please let me know. Thanks to developers, we have a pop-up warehouse solution. It enables them to reap social value from underutilised real estate and relieves us from having to raise money to pay rent so we can do more of what we do best. We actively collaborate to share knowledge and resources with other charities and social enterprises because in our sector, any gains we make affect a different bottom line. We can help more people and we can help people more. In all of these ways, you can see we are better together.
And on a personal level, this experience has changed me in ways that I never expected. I have found my sense of value, contribution, and a deeper sense of self. My eyes, my heart, and my mind have been opened by the connection with Carmen and the amazing group of people from the Growth Project and this wonderful Hummingbird cohort. For Carmen and I, we were connected by a love for people, sharing, and an openness to grow. We shared a piece of each other. And despite our differences, we found that together we were able to achieve more than we could on our own. We supported each other and we lifted each other at key moments when we needed someone beside us.
It's just like at the Generous and the Grateful. We know that really everybody just wants to know there's somebody beside them. Ultimately, through connection, we all can be and are truly better together.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Alfred's passion for books, which began at a very young age, led him and his wife to set up Aussie Books for Zim, with the initial goal of sending 2,000 books back to his former school in Zimbabwe. Just 5 years later, they have shipped 100,000 books, set up 9 libraries in rural communities, and impacted the lives of over 30,000 children. Not bad. Alongside him tonight, Sam is a commercial deals negotiator. She is one of the Growth Project's educators, leading the shared value session, and is a proud Hummingbird. Sam is a straight shooter who loves to help others learn to love negotiating, or at least just not hate it. She ultimately believes it's all just worth a great deal. So strap yourselves in for the powerful words of Alfred and Sam.
At the beginning of 2020, I was in need of a reset. What a year. My theme for the year personally was to find calm. You see, I can be a bit bullish. I like to get under the hood of things and find out the who, the how, the what, as well as the why. And as a result, sometimes I break things. Then I was partnered with Alfred for my growth project adventure. What a gift I was given. I remember the moment when I realised that this opportunity was going to be amazing because I get to work with the kindest, gentlest man who personifies calm. By coming together and looking at the world from our very different perspectives, we've had a ride. We've asked each other very different questions. We've lifted the lid on Aussie Books for Zim. And we've spent a lot of time pondering the power one book can unlock. As a result, we've actually decided to smash Aussie Books for Zim on the ground and start over. But don't worry. We're still focused on the heart of the concept. It's just now we're going after a much bigger prize. We're going bigger than Zimbabwe. We're going to create a reading culture in Africa. In support of this, our new goal is to get 1 million books in the hands of the kids all across Africa. So Alfred, it's been my honour, my friend, to work with you. And I imagine we'll be spending many years together, breaking things, resetting them, and achieving these amazing big impact goals together.
I remember my first day of school as a 6-year-old boy in Mudzi, Mavurazi Primary School to be specific. I got up early in the morning with my brothers. We got ready to go to school. And we were going to walk 5 kilometers one way. And I thoroughly enjoyed the prospect of being in school. But you see, in Mavurazi, it's a very remote village in the northeastern part of Zimbabwe. You don't have running water, you don't have electricity. But I would like to believe we were probably some of the happiest kids you could find around. Because along the way to school, we got an opportunity to play with our friends. We got an opportunity to go on this journey together. As a 6-year-old, what I did not know was that most of the kids did not transition to secondary school. Mainly because we didn't have the resources. We just didn't have books. So we relied on the teacher to deliver the information to us. What I didn't know was that the girls who did not transition to secondary school would get married at the age of 14, 15. And that just breaks my heart because I have little girls. I have 2 little girls. If my girls were to get married at the age of 20, I would freak out. But the worst thing is that these girls would end up contracting HIV and AIDS at the age of 18, 19, 20. And that's it. There is no hope for them. And this is still the scenario back in my village. Luckily for me, at the age of 7, my dad moved me from Mavurazi Primary School to the city. That was a turning point in my life. I moved to the city, and the first thing that my dad did was to enroll me at the local library. Oh my goodness, I got into the library and I read as much as I could. I discovered the joy of reading books. I discovered the magic of science and mathematics. I discovered the joy of opening pages in a book and actually smelling the pages. Little did we know that that investment in me at a young age would result in this. 35 years later, I'm not just Alfred. I'm not just that little boy from Mavurazi Primary School anymore. I'm Dr. Alfred Chidembo. None of this would have happened if I had not had access to books like these. This is actually one of the books that I read when I was in grade 1, grade 2. None of it would have happened. None of this would have happened we wouldn't be talking about Aussie Books for Zim if I hadn't had access to books. So we are standing here after a very, very challenging year, after having set up Aussie Books for Zim with my wife. And we are saying, how can we dismantle all of this that we've set up and build even better structures to make a bigger impact? I've had the opportunity to go through this program with a growth project, an opportunity to dream big, an opportunity to step back, to reset and look at things differently. But I've been very, very fortunate to have somebody like Sam walk on this journey with me. And as she's rightfully pointed out, this is not the end of that journey. It's only the beginning. So what my dad did for me by taking me out of that village at a young age is what we are doing for kids in rural communities, not only in Zimbabwe, but in Africa. I cannot take every child out of the village and give them the same opportunities that I got. But I believe that I can bring books to these children from a young age. I can bring a whole world to them through books and change their lives one book at a time. But we have an audacious goal. We want to deliver 1 million books, 1 million books in the hands of 1 million children. And I know that's going to happen because I've met some amazing people here who are going to help me do that. And when that day comes, we will be standing under the African sun with a big smile on my face, looking at the camera. And standing right next to me is going to be Larry, Sam, and Felice. But not only that, that frame can be made even bigger to accommodate each and every one of you who wants to be part of this journey. Any one of you who wants to help us make an impact to change lives the way my life was changed. To give somebody the gift of a book. So wherever you may be, wherever you are, I'm going to ask you to take a step back. Remember where you started off. Reset. Reset. Imagine the possibilities and take action. Take flight and make change wherever you are, no matter how small your community is, no matter how small your circle of influence is. Start somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred and Sam. Well, everyone, that brings us to the end of the Hummingbird presentations and to the end of the Growth Project. Bringing us home tonight is the one and only Larry Fingelson. Now, for those of you who know Larry, he insists on being introduced as a husband first and a father second. Now, I am convinced that is because he knows how lucky he got with Felice. Without her, none of this would have happened. Larry has this insatiable appetite to help and is tangible proof that an individual with the right amount of commitment, passion, and focus can change the world. And you should all have no doubt that that is exactly what has happened over the last 5 years. I will never forget my first coffee to talk about the Growth Project, but never would I have imagined the ripples of impact across 200 individuals, 4 cities, and 2 countries. It took me a while to fully recognize that Larry has been the perfect case study of what we have learnt along the way. A true representation of a business leader as the MD of Priority Advisory Group and a charity leader as the MD of the Growth Project, blended into one. As a member of the board and a keen observer over the last 5 years, it has been inspiring to see the immense impact that this blurring of the boundaries between these two sectors can have. So Larry, thank you from all of us for your passion, leadership, and commitment to positively impacting the world. Over to you.
After 5 years, I knew that I would feel this. So I looked up the meaning of the word, overwhelmed. A sudden, strong emotion, too much to deal with or understand. The Hummingbird pairs just shared with you a 5-minute snippet of themselves, and I have no doubt that something shifted inside you. In each and every session of the Growth Project, there was a magical transformation that took place. When 10 business leaders and 10 charity leaders, all driven with a passion and a purpose to make a difference, come together into a safe place with their hearts and their minds to share and learn, the power and the impact can be felt and explained as an emotional expansion experience. Multiply the power of the Hummingbirds by 10, and you then have an idea of the incredible alumni network that has been formed by all the participants. Something magical happens when people give with pure intent. The giver grows. In each and every cohort, there was only ever an abundance of pure intent. We all laughed together, we all shared together, we all cried together. But most of all, we learned together and we grew together. The impact of the ripples that have been created will never end and are impossible to measure. We captured what we could in our detailed legacy report, our stories, reflections, and ongoing dialogue with each cohort member. The most critical measure to us is that we fulfilled our mission and we now no longer need to exist. None of our impact would have occurred if not for the visionary support we received from our founding partners, when it was all but an idea with pure intent. To the CBA team, thank you for believing that there would be impact and for investing your valuable time, talent, networks, and money in us. To the Saunders family, especially Monica Saunders-Weinberg, thank you for choosing to honour your father's legacy through the Growth Project. And on a personal note, Monica, thank you for believing in me. David Fenlon, Gary Brown, Rebecca Harris, and Megan Ball. Each of you believed in what was possible, and thank you for representing your organisations on the journey. To the board, to all content specialists, and all other supporters of the Growth Project, on behalf of each and every graduate, I thank you. Legends say that hummingbirds float free of time, carrying our hopes of love, joy, and celebration. The hummingbird's delicate grace reminds us that life is rich, beauty is everywhere, every personal connection has meaning, and laughter is life's sweetest creation. Hummingbirds, may you continue to float free and shine your light and passion into the world as each of you continue your own contribution adventures. Everyone around the world, wherever you are, thank you for joining us. Grab a drink and clap your hands as we toast the final graduating cohort in Australia, the Hummingbirds. We will end the night sharing with you a short video that captures the Growth Project journey from beginning to end. Thank you all. Good night, stay safe, and take care. And I've always wanted to do this. To my wife, to my beautiful children, to my mum, my dad, and my brothers. I love you all.
We are born to jump and find our wings, or wait for the road to rise. Is it scary stuff? Yes. But is it worth it? Totally.
The Growth Project's purpose was to bring together leaders for a personal development journey that had maximum positive social impact.
The way Larry described it is we will pair good business leaders with good charity leaders and put them almost into a melting pot and see how they could benefit from being together.
The challenge that most people are faced with is where are those opportunities for me to actually give back using my real skill set, my real resources, my real level of ideas.
Why would we not want to be involved in a project like this that is going to provide opportunities to our people to go alongside those social entrepreneurs?
It's just unbelievable to see a little bit of the corporate discipline and tradecraft mixed with, social purpose and passion and genuine care for the community. It's just unleashed this massive power across both sectors.
The Australian Productivity Commission did a report, and one of the key findings was that the real deficiency in the charity and not-for-profit sector was leadership development of those running the charities.
We realised the corporate world were looking for ways to teach their people influencing skills. So if we could bring those leaders together, the charity and the business, into an environment that was immersive, that was collaborative, everybody would grow.
The
difference that the Growth Project provided to the emerging charities is that it was a leadership development that was delivered to them at no cost to them.
It's all about coming together and growing together and rising together, and I think that's probably the essence that spoke to me the most.
I've got all of this resource, this capability, and it was this connection between corporate and charities, and the light bulb just went off.
That's Larry. Larry just does that. He comes up with these things and then he just makes them happen. Professionally, in the charitable world, at home, he just makes things happen.
Through my work with Blackmores, my boss at the time met Larry and became a cornerstone partner, and he put me forward. One of the motivations I had for doing it was to be an example to my children. I wanted them to be good social citizens, and I wasn't modelling it myself.
It was a fantastic opportunity to identify with an organisation that was in need of skills that I have.
We really needed someone to help us with strategy, to look outside the box of what we're doing, and he's such a big thinker.
Larry said to me, do you want to experience it with someone safe who's more like you, or is someone really quite different? And I said, absolutely up for going for really different. I just didn't realise how different.
The universe always designs a process for our awakening and for our growth. Everything that we experience is designed to help us actually get more and more peace.
We would often laugh at each other because we're each other's yin and yang, but put us together and it really was magical.
I felt no barrier with her. I just felt, sometimes it's people who say, I'm not necessarily spiritual, I don't know much about this. They're the most spiritual people, like she was just from the heart.
I met him 9 months after his wife passed away from stomach cancer at the age of 36. They co-founded A Sound Life together, and it was really a legacy to Joe. I was there to help him through that 12 months and help him look at the pathway for a sound life. Our first meeting was the two of us just locking eyes and then crying and hugging without even speaking.
You've got business leaders and charity leaders. You've got people's heads and hearts coming into it, and what happens in the room is this magical explosion. There's 20 people and boom.
I want you to introduce yourself, shake hands with the wrong hand and share. Why are you here?
Our son Thomas was killed in July 2012. The person just walked straight up to Thomas's face and punched him. So really from that time, Thomas lost his life.
We had to start to fight for our son in the end, had to fight for justice.
Ellen's one of our very senior people, and we wanted to, one, give her the opportunity to share her experience, and we also wanted to give her an opportunity to develop and grow as a leader.
Whether it's your big why, whether it's your legacy, whether it's the certainty of your values.
I started Feel the Magic basically to honour my late mother and father. I lost both my parents as a young adult. And I just had this idea, what if I could support bereaved children who have lost a parent or sibling?
My mum got a call from my dad's work and saying that he's collapsed. And I can't remember the drive there to his work.
Children need tools, children need support throughout the most painful thing of their life.
Dealing with someone who is grieving and you've felt it yourself, you're on their level.
You're forced out of your bubble. You have to listen to the issues that other people are facing, either in their charities or just in their day-to-day life, and it just gives you some perspective.
And what we offer is the opportunity for young people to be able to share their stories of mental health with other young people so that they feel encouraged to have positive conversations and empowered to be able to reach out for support when they need it.
Batir came to my school when I was 16. It was just by fate that they were there a month before my lowest point. It actually ended up changing what could have happened to me.
When you actually see the benefit, that's very personal and it's very empowering and it's very emotional. If I can catapult Sam and project him up the curve, up the learning curve and advance his course, then I've achieved what I've set out to do. Sharing my experience, that's what society used to be built on.
A Sound Life is Australia's first charity to bring music, yoga and meditation to people facing some form of adversity. When we go into a children's hospital, it changes the vibe on the ward. It permeates the whole space. We had Ben Lee coming in the ICU with this girl who was just going through chemo. And the mother, she said for that day when we came in, she had her daughter back. It was just like, wow, this is so important to be doing this work.
You partner with one charity and you think, okay, I'm going to learn about one charity, and you do, and you certainly immerse yourself in that charity. But the thing I loved was that we were contributing to another 9 charities on there.
Having this melting pot to solve each other's problems, test the ideas, think about other people and how you could help them, I suppose that became the first ripple.
We are creating the next generation of generosity, and kids volunteering is a practical method to make kids balanced, community-minded and effectively our leaders of the future.
They had lots and lots of programs and they couldn't achieve much scale, so we decided to try and pare back the volume and focus on fewer programs and doing those programs particularly well.
Ido is the leader, Ido is the visionary, but what is not is the manager. Those roles are different and the skill sets are different. For a Sound Life to grow, we needed to appoint a really good MD, and we separated those 2 roles.
Just being in that change was really a confronting experience, but also really exciting that I could do what I do best, which is strategy and visioning, the more creative aspects.
Feedback is absolutely critical to the development of the growth project. Please, at any time, share what you think could be better or what's not working or what's fantastic and we must do more of.
It's all about learning. You know, of course, we're focusing on collaboration, but if you're going to be emergent, you've got to be willing to step into this unknown territory.
We changed content, we changed the way things were delivered. After that 3 or 4 year period, into the 7th cohort, what we had developed was working.
Pulse check was where we come in every month and we have a pulse check about what happened during that week or during that month, and we talk about it. So the one thing that really was a significant moment.
Sam and I got an audience with the Premier's mental health advisor. We received very favourably.
Ido had in his mind he'd love a dome.
We need a space for health. We need a space for connection and community. Being in the growth project led to getting the dome up and running.
How many people get to put out into the universe they need a dome, and it actually is delivered?
The Growth Project really allowed me to think bigger than what I was currently doing. It gave me freedom to go, okay, what would Feel the Magic look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Where do I see it? What do I want to do with it? How many lives can we impact through our organisation?
As a result of helping James, I was inspired to come up with a way to connect people and to raise money at the same time, a little bit like a LinkedIn.
So we actually built a platform. Book a meeting with a C-level executive for $1,000 and we contribute 700 of that back to the Starlight Children Foundation. When all those meetings are taken, 12,300 children will be impacted. It's proof that people actually want to make a difference.
The Growth Project has helped to tease out my own values. I didn't see myself in the not-for-profit space.
The Growth Project is actually a process of inner transformation as much as it is about organisational transformation.
I went through the recruitment process and I'm now the Chief Executive Officer of Thread Together. We work with the fashion industry to save product that would otherwise go to landfill, and we work with hundreds of charities to redistribute that product to vulnerable people all over the country. Using my corporate experience, recognising all the pain points that I saw in the Growth Project, we collaborate as an organisation. A lot of what I heard in the Growth Project is the need to collaborate. We're actually doing that.
When Anthony became CEO of Thread Together, I was thrilled for him. We still enjoy a really good relationship. We do a lot of programs with Thread Together and Anthony's always there cheering us on.
You think a lot about how you're going to help the charity, how you're going to impart your knowledge. You realise you learn so much more than you ever thought you were going to.
They go back to their business with some enhanced leadership skills, communication, planning, connections, networks, governance, measurement. All those things are valuable for a business. They also have insight into how their business can relate to charity.
You know, as the next generation of people coming through, it's almost inherent. I need to feel like I'm a part of a society and I want to know what impact I have. So we got involved in the Growth Project as a participant.
Over the 5 years of the Growth Project, we've connected 100 leaders from charity with 100 leaders from the corporate world.
That's spread across Sydney, Melbourne and Perth. We have this wonderful alumni, we have intellectual property, the materials, and we also have a model which is supported by a range of businesses. So if you think about those assets, where might we go?
The ultimate vision was to do the Growth Project and then beyond that to share our ingredients and our benefits with society and for corporates to pick that up.
Our software lands in more than 80 countries in the world, 13,000 odd employees, 350 in Australia. When I came into the business, the consistent thread that I saw was this passion to help in the form of community and CSR. And I said, well, what if I pointed that trigger over to the core business and I could create the same passion there? Because that's what you're doing. You're helping. But how do I connect everybody? How do we create a common purpose? What is it that's going to align us?
We said, why don't we work with you to embed the essence and the ingredients of the Growth Project into Sage, and then you can drive it globally.
We've got this amazing opportunity because we can affect so many different organisations around the world. We've got 3 million customers. These are the heart and soul of most economies because they're small to mid-sized businesses.
The Growth Project, or Sage's version of the Growth Project, will be their primary foundation initiative to go to 9 countries, of which Australia is the first next year.
I mean, you look at what Sage is doing, if they roll out what they intend to roll out, the impact will be, 10 times what we've achieved in Australia.
If multiple corporates could embed the essence of the Growth Project within their own corporate, that's the true ripple.